obviously here in New Zealand there has been reaction on the markets. Nona Pelletier, our business correspondent, joins us in the studio. Nona, wow, what a day, what an afternoon.
What a day for sure.
Where did we finish up?
Well, we finished down 5%, right on 5%, just beneath it, at 540 points down. That's 10,333 finishing in the index. That's the top 50 index. That's not as bad as we're seeing across the Tasman. The ASX 200, last time I looked, it was down over 7%. And the Nikkei at 5.5%. That's the Japanese index. Those are big numbers, and we've seen some massive swings over the last few weeks, but I don't think we've seen a day like this. And it's not even a whole day. The market starts opening here.
Yeah, over what time frame did we see this dip?
This is just, well, this morning we were down, which you would have expected after the announcement of the pandemic just before that. But it really picked up momentum once the announcement was made this afternoon by President Donald Trump about the travel ban. And then, of course, he misspoke, I suppose, about the trade. But that before that was corrected in a tweet, it had already spread through the Asian news channels.
So the ripple effect was that other countries were sitting there thinking that any ship, any cargo, any trade, it wasn't happening either. But we now know it's just people. He's talking about people movement.
Well, that's what he says in his tweet.
Okay. So with this, what was it, around 5% down on the New Zealand market?
5% exactly, actually.
So what about individual companies? Can you give us a bit of an insight?
Right, so just looking at the top 10 index, it was even harder hit. And in there, we would find, for example, Auckland Airport. It put itself into, a trading halt this afternoon, just before the market closed.
And so what does that mean for ordinary people? What's that?
So its shares were suspended from trading. You couldn't buy or sell them on the market. And when that is pending a company announcement, we don't know what that announcement is going to be. So the suspension of trade says that basically it will be pending an announcement by the company, or the trading halt will be lifted by Monday morning when the market opens. So does that mean that they need the weekend to talk about things? Who knows? These days, it's impossible to say. But you can imagine, I was trying to think this through. If you can't travel to Europe through the United States, maybe you come through Asia, maybe you come through New Zealand. I really don't know what the plan is there. That's it's really unprecedented, isn't it?
So other companies like, say, Air New Zealand, were you watching them at all?
Yes, Air New Zealand, it finished down about almost 8%, but they're not commenting. Obviously, they're going to be heavily affected by this. They're not in a trading halt. Tourism Holdings has exposure to the U.S. market through their camper van business.
So this is the camper van company.
And they were down about 9%. And they put out a notice this afternoon after the travel ban was announced by the government in the United States. And it said it was going to come back to the market again tomorrow. So we'll hear more from them. I spoke to one of the fellows who's the head of research at Fat Profits, and what he said was that this is different from 2008 when we had the last, and this you would definitely say this is on the
global financial crisis.
It's certainly, I would call it a global financial crisis of that kind. He said that it's different. In that case, we moved down steadily, and so we kind of troughed down to the low that it ended up. But the speed at which this is happening, this particular drop, is alarming. And it does reflect a fear and a panic in the market that we haven't seen probably for decades.